All right, let's go.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you all, wherever you may be. Welcome to Bayou Sports Talk. And we are here. I am your moderator, Kim, and we have some great sports people around the world, wherever you may be. And so we're going to go ahead and take time to have everyone introduce themselves. If we can go ahead and start with Coach, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, it's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions and Boxing community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, Southern
Okay,
University, home of the mighty Jaguars.
all right, SU representing. And now we have our get football lineman. Go ahead, Rue. I think we're giving him a little problems on his end, but we'll. Can you hear us, Rue?
I can hear you now.
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
The one and only Rude Dog, aka Raymond from at Ville. But I thank you for introducing me, Miss K.
All right, and last but not least, we have Raymond. Go ahead, Raymond, introduce yourself.
The youngest one of the bunch, named Raymond, as you can see, from the same places, Blue Dog, just coming here to give my analogy, on sports and stuff like that, all Louisiana sports. So that's pretty much it.
All right, all right. So I know we have some great topics here at hand. We're going to go ahead and dive in. And so we're going to go ahead and start with Coach. If you can start us off, everyone is going to have 3 minutes to go ahead. And if depending on where we are, we're going to elaborate a little more. So we're going to go ahead and start with our 2022 and 2023 NFL season. Kind of talk about reactions from the Super Bowl. What do you all think about what did you see from the Super Bowl? Our NFL MVP and our new Super Bowl champs for 2023. So what do you all think?
I'll start
Okay,
it off.
well, first, start with the 2023 season, 2022-2023 season. It was a decent season. However, as a Saints fan, I mean, it left a lot to be desired because early in the year, they won the first game against the Atlanta Falcons. They struggled. They struggled the rest of the season, especially when ain't over the back. And from that point forward, the Saints season pretty much was a roller coaster most of the way. They struggled most of the season. They didn't have a good season. They didn't make the playoffs. So from the perspective of a Saints fan, they left a lot to be desired. Now, just the overall season, just in general, I thought it was a good, solid season. Uh, the team that I anticipated once the playoffs started, because a lot of people make Super Bowl predictions at the beginning of the year. It's kind of hit or miss, but for the most part, I anticipated the Kansas City Chiefs being one of the remaining teams at the end, which they were. And in terms of my Super Bowl prediction, I predicted that the Kansas City Chiefs would beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So for the most part, it pretty much played out the way I anticipated. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl. It was one of the best Super Bowls I saw in a long time. It was good quarterback play with both Jalen Hurts, excuse me, but both quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts had solid game, solid game in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Pat Mahomes, he's that guy. He's arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. So, having the franchise quarterback, it really makes a difference, especially when you got weapons like Travis Kelce at your disposal. So overall, it was just a good, solid NFL season. One of the best Super Bowls I've saw in a while. And Saints fan, hopefully 2023, the 2023-2024 season is a better season than 2022-2020.
Okay, what about you, Ruth? What do you think?
Can do this. So Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP. I like him. Best quarterback in the league. Hands down. Got some nice weapons with him. Um, it's gonna be a tough all season for him to try to bring everybody back. But I definitely think they're probably gonna be another contender again come this year. And I think it's gonna be a great season. A lot of expectations from a lot of teams, and I think it'll be a great season. But the Super Bowl wise, it's gonna be hard for Philly to kind of bring all that back again next year because a lot of cap. They gotta free up for a lot of free agents coming up this year. Big free agent for us, New Orleans Saints fans. C.J. Gardner Johnson. We hope we gonna land it back home. But I just think it was a great season last year, 2022. As pretty, I mean, pretty much said Patrick Mahomes had a great MVP season. So I leave it up to you, Raymond.
Okay, Raymond. So what do you think?
All right, all right. So as far as me, going back to what Coach said, looking at that first game that the Saints played against the Falcons, I remember getting on a plane going somewhere, and I was like, man, the Saints getting blowed out. I got off the plane. I seen they came back and won by 1 point. Went watched the highlights, seen that amazing comeback. It's like in the fourth quarter, everything just came together. And if you watch that fourth quarter, how the Saints came together, it was like, man, this team looked like a real Super Bowl contending team, almost like the year before that when we beat the brakes off of the Green Bay Packers. It's like when his team is at full strength, they look so complete and so unbeatable. The thing that has torched, the Saints is injuries. Because honestly, I was watching somebody's show and they said like a lot of the games that the Saints lost was like if the ball would have bounced the other way, the Saints could have probably easily won that game. One game I'm thinking of is the game that we lost against Minnesota, in London, I believe. That game could have either went, either way. So the Saints had a couple of games. I know we went 7-10. So it's a couple of games where if the ball would have bounced the other way, we could have easily been 10-7, possibly being in the playoffs. And that's without Michael Thomas. That's what a mediocre Alvin Kamara this season. You know what I'm saying? But as far as that, so I had high expectations for this team, but once people started going down, it's like you kind of could see the season dwindle. So as the season went on, I just became more nonchalant to us, actually being contenders and making the playoffs. I would have just been us satisfied with making the playoffs. But as far as the Super Bowl, it went exactly how I expected it. I was rooting for Patrick Mahomes. I had like 90% confidence that Patrick Mahomes was going to get his second Super Bowl ring, because Patrick Mahomes, this was his third go round in the Super Bowl. So he had Super Bowl experience, and this is not new territory to him. My thing was I thought that Jalen Hurts would have kind of got a little shell shock, which he didn't. But of course, I know Patrick Mahomes has experience on that big stage like that. So he did come through as I expected. So yeah, that's pretty much how my Super Bowl and last year's season's recap went.
Well, Raymond, you are correct. I think that is something that hurt the Saints are the injuries, as well as because after you're losing your quarterback and then your backup quarterback is may have not been where you think they should be. So what do y'all think about the quarterback? What because since the Saints is getting a new quarterback, and tell me what do y'all think? Because the Saints make some changes, have some people leave, because we I don't know. For me, my opinion is, what do you think? What Elvin Kamara, will he be there for the season? What would his future be like? Do you think his future is going to be here with the Saints? Rue? Oh, he's no longer here with us. Raymond, what do you think? What do you think the future is going to be for the Saints, since we have a new quarterback, and things are kind of rocky with Elvin Kamara, and hopefully we get some good linemen that can really support our new quarterback, as well as the whole team, that can be as one and be on one accord, correct?
Yeah, definitely correct. What I believe, and I was just thinking about this the other day, I feel like Alvin Kamara is going to pretty much play 90% of his career in New Orleans. Not only did Alvin Kamara just buy a home in New Orleans, he had a house built in New Orleans. So I feel like that goes to show to speak in his dedication to the team and to the city of New Orleans. As I was just watching Derek Carr on Instagram as he was signing, his contract and stuff. Just even looking at Derek Carr family, I found this kind of funny. Derek Carr has three sons and one baby girl. You know what other quarterback who played for us has three sons and one baby girl? Drew Brees.
Yes,
So that
correct.
kind of that kind of like spoke to me as well. I'm like, all right, okay, okay, okay. So and I was just seeing this little. It's not a rumor, it's just a speculation that I seen on Twitter of like, what if the Saints go get Adam Thielen? So it's like now, like, we got Derek Carr. Is Derek Carr consistent? No. But do I feel like he could possibly make better passing decisions than Jameis Winston and quarterbacks that we had in the past after Drew Brees? Definitely. Does he have arm talent and arm strength? Yes. It's just that consistency. But I feel like the type of offense that the Saints have built with Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Raheed Shaheed, I think I might have messed up his first name. We got those pieces around him. We got Jawan Johnson. I feel like we could pick up more key pieces in the draft. Alvin Kamara probably might get suspended. So you got Benji Robinson, I believe that's his name, from Texas. You got I believe Gibson from Alabama. But one person I would really like the Saints to go get for running back is I think his name Tajay Spears, the running back from Tulane. I feel like he would be a really great addition for the Saints because he's a hometown boy. He's from Louisiana. He played right there at Tulane. So he's one of those in-state guys, and I'm pretty sure he'll be very passionate about playing for the Saints. But so yeah, I feel like the Saints are it draft Hendon Hooker as well for the future. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much just my thoughts on that. So I feel very good about us going into the future. People that we could possibly pick up in the future in the draft and throughout free agency.
Coach, what's your thoughts?
Well, later on in the show, we're going to talk about Derek specifically, but in terms of Alvin Kamara, uh, his situation is a little bit tricky with the, legal situation that he has. Personally, I don't think he's going to do any jail time. However, it's a possibility that he'll be suspended at least half, maybe the entire NFL season. So his particular situation is real touch and go. I'm not really expecting to see a lot of him in 2023, 2020. So the Saints are definitely going to need to get another running back, maybe through the draft. Latavius Murray left us again, and he went to the Denver Broncos after him in London against the Vikings. Uh, Mark Ingram, he's pretty much older back. He's seen his better days. So the Saints definitely gonna have to draft them a running back, and it's gonna be interesting to see like what other, Raymond was saying, what other pieces they're gonna add in the draft. So they definitely gonna need another running back. I'm anticipating that Alvin Kamara gonna be suspended at least half, maybe the entire 2022-2023 season. I'm sorry, 2023-2024 season. So the fact that he's gonna be uh he's gonna be out probably half or most of the season. And in addition to that, not having, a stable of good backs behind him that we could do can do in terms of him being a dynamic playmaker, him making a lot of plays. It's going to be interesting to see like what the Saints is going to do in the draft and how high they're going to get another running back. So it's going to be interesting. So hopefully, Mickey Loomis and the front office brass can make the right decisions in terms of the Saints.
Okay, with that being said, that takes us to our next topic. Is Derek Carr the right quarterback for the Saints? And do you think he is worth the contact or the cap that they've given him, the contract that they've given him? So we're gonna start off with Rue. What do you think?
Year, which we saw last year, and speaking as a playing quarterback position, not moving your feet, not reading your right read. So I think Derek Carr is that guy. I just think he just was in a bad situation in Las Vegas by being under the pressure of trying to throw the ball to Devontae Adams and Wilder and a couple other guys, and you know how they go, coach. Miss locker room talking and miscommunication and a couple of bad players kind of throw a whole team off. But as the quarterback for the future of the Saints, yeah, I think he could probably be great. Probably not Drew Brees great, but something we could be looking forward to in a happy Michael Thomas and a offensive world. He don't have to be on the field that long. So, as of Derek Carr, I think the upside is great in New Orleans. It's a perfect fit, and it's something we need. Something we saw we would lack of last year as a quarterback. As Andy Dalton and James was going down and never becoming a starter again. So I think this is a big improvement to our team and everything like this. I think we are doing great as Carr going being our leader.
Okay. So Raymond, do you think he was worth the contract?
Oh,
And is he worth that?
that amount of money, this is why. Because I also seen somebody say a joke on Twitter about there has been a QB price inflation around quarterbacks. Like when you look at a lot of these quarterbacks, they in the 100 mil range. Like 150, that's probably like the new average for quarterback pay. You know what I'm saying? Because you got like Lamar Jackson was asking for like 250 million. I seen the list. Like you got some pretty average quarterbacks. Making around like 150, 120 million. In their contract. So I definitely feel like he was worth the money, and of course, it's going to show through production. So if Derek Carr becomes the man we all want him to be, or if he exceeds expectations, he was definitely worth the money. If he's not, then of course, we're going to be like, no, he's not worth the money. But honestly, I do feel like he's worth the money. He's worth the opportunity. I feel like he has everything that we need to be a win now team. Derek Carr has been a 9-year starter in the league. When you look at somebody like Andy Dalton was consistently a backup quarterback. So it's a phrase, you can't turn a into a housewife. Feel like you can't turn a backup quarterback into a starter quarterback. Jameis, we always played against him in Tampa Bay, but before he came to us, he was a turnover machine. Like I said, you can't teach an old dog, new tricks. So it's like I guess they tried to maintain Jameis, but the last thing I remember when he played against Tampa Bay, he threw 3 picks. And I remember hearing Devin White say in that post game interview They said that, and of course, Devin White and them, that's their old teammate. They say Jameis gonna be Jameis. They said they already knew the interceptions and the picks was coming. So that kind of like showed me like, yeah, I guess we can't really stop Jameis Winston from making some of these bad throws. So I mean, Derek Carr isn't consistent, but I feel like he doesn't make idiotic passes, which is something I could live with. So he's definitely worth the money for me.
So, Coach, what do you think? Is Derek Carr the right fit for the Saints, and do you think he's worth the contract?
Uh, Rue and Raymond make points. Me personally, I'm gonna have to disagree. Uh, for the amount of money he made and for the expectation that comes with that amount of money, so be for him. I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback at his best, but for me, he's too inconsistent. And for the kind of money he's getting, I don't think he's a franchise caliber quarterback. I mean, and the thing about it is, there have been instances where I've been right, and there've been instances I've been wrong. When it came to Drew Brees, I preferred Dante Culpepper, and he ended up going to the Dolphins. Culpepper ended up going to the Dolphins. Nick Saban wanted Brees for the Dolphins, and instead, the team doctors for the Dolphins didn't. They thought Drew Brees wasn't healed enough, so they passed on him. So as a result, they ended up getting Dante Culpepper, and Dante Culpepper, he only made it through half the season before they ended up shutting him down because he wasn't medically fit to play. Whereas on the flip side, Drew Brees ended up having the Saints. So in that particular instance, I was wrong. And and hopefully when it comes to Derek, can't. I'm not saying they can't be a playoff caliber team, but for me, for he's getting paid and the expectation that's gonna come with that, I don't think he's that guy. That um, to me, if he was a franchise caliber quarterback, he'll still be Vegas and he wouldn't be in New Orleans this coming year. So for my money, I think what they should have did was just kept Jameis and maybe drafted him a quarterback and an Aaron Parent for the future. I mean, that's just my personal take on the situation. So hopefully I'm wrong, but time will tell.
And that's a great point to bring out, Coach. That is something to consider. A lot of teams counted Drew Brees out, and look what he came. He came back and won the Saints a Super Bowl. So we might be looking at things kind of wrongfully, right, Raymond? What do you have?
I kind of want to say this as well. You know, I do feel like Derek Carr is the right fit, but I could kind of agree with Coach. I don't believe that Derek Carr is our franchise quarterback. Me, I believe truthfully that Hendon Hooker is our franchise quarterback. That's why I want the Saints to draft Hendon Hooker. And, let Hendon Hooker sit, on the bench, as a rookie for like 1 or 2 years, then him come on board because I know he has that injury as well. That's who I truly feel like is our franchise quarterback, Hendon Hooker, the quarterback from Tennessee. Now, the thing I like about Derek Carr, which is why I felt like Derek Carr was perfect for the situation, if you notice the mentality of the Saints, they have a win now mentality. They haven't. People thought when Drew Brees retired, we was gonna go into rebuild mode, but the Saints never really did that. So I strongly feel like Derek Carr is the perfect quarterback for the win now type of team that we trying to have. But our franchise quarterback, I'm kind of predicting is Hendon Hooker. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, well, since we're talking about the Saints, where is where is the Saints gonna go with our special teams, with and with our backup quarterbacks? Where does that lead us? Because at one time the Saints was uh, taking those steps because they made a big contract with our special teams. Well, at one time, backup quarterback. What is his name?
Taysom Hill.
You, Taysom Hill, yes.
Taysom Hill.
So yes. So where is that going to lead us with him? What, are they going to use him more, utilize him as a backup quarterback, a defense? What are they going to do with him? Because I felt like they didn't utilize him enough this season past. So, what do you think about him being utilized not enough? And he still has a great deal in his hands. So, what is going on with that? Can you lead us in that conversation, Coach?
Speaking now that, truthfully speaking, now that Sean Payton is the head coach for the Denver Broncos, there is some speculation that he's going to be willing to make a trade where the Saints to get some draft picks or a draft pick in return for Taysom Hill, because he knew how to fully utilize Taysom Hill and everything that came with Taysom Hill. I mean, it's obvious that he wasn't going to be the heir apparent to Drew Brees, that he's not a franchise type quarterback. He's more of a utility guy, a gadget guy, that could play quarterback at certain points in terms of being like a gadget or wildcat type of quarterback. He can play run back. He can play wide receiver. He could play tight end. He could be an edge back. He could be a gunner on multiple special teams, whether it's the kickoff team, the punt team. He could return a punt or kick every once in a while. So, truthfully speaking, I think it's going to be a situation where the Saints may potentially trade him. And if they do keep him, of course, he's a vital piece in terms of the Saints special teams. And like I said, he's a utility guy. I mean, I wasn't so on Andy Dalton being the permanent starting quarterback anyway to begin with. I felt like once Jameis Winston got hurt and he went down, I think Winston should have got his job back at some point. But even with that being said, if you didn't go with Winston, I would have preferred them to go with Taysom Hill over Andy Dalton in certain spots. So the point I'm trying to make is they could potentially trade him. I think more than likely they're probably going to keep him. But like you said, I think they just need to do a better job utilizing him and his talent since he's a utility guy. He's not an every down quarterback, but he's a multifaceted, dynamic guy that you could put in a variety of different positions.
Okay, Rue, what's your thoughts?
And what Taysom Hill gonna be? Football player, like as in Taysom
The, them
31,
not
32
utilizing him.
at the middle. Like I think he gonna be that kind of guy. The kind of money they give him, I don't agree on, but at the same time, he's never gonna be a starting quarterback for the Saints. So I just think you should keep him as he is, a playmaker, tight end, special teams, and everything on that level there. I
Raymond?
mean, I don't see.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rudy. What were you saying more?
Oh no, I think we're finished, but pretty much the same thing with everybody else saying. I feel like yes, we should definitely keep Taysom Hill. I remember I was watching one game and one of the commentators said that Taysom Hill is a game changer. Like he is. Like we could be down like 13-0. Taysom Hill can make a play on special teams. You could throw the ball to Taysom Hill. You could let him run it up the middle for like 30 yards. I feel like Taysom Hill could give the team that spark. So, but Taysom Hill is just, when we say Taysom Hill is a utility guy, it's not us talking down on him. I feel like that's more of us talking about his value. Like Taysom Hill has value. I'm pretty sure any NFL team would love to have Taysom Hill on their team. He adds value to your offense and to your special teams, no doubt. I do agree that he kind of got a little bit too much of money, but when you look at the plays and the times that he has brought the momentum back to the Saints sideline, I kind of don't mind it. I feel like Taysom Hill is going to be a pivotal part in this season. because you could just put him at tight end. He's great with blocking. You could put him at wide receiver. He could. He's pretty good at catching the ball. He's not the best catcher, of course, but he's pretty high at catching the ball. But it's just those times when you run that QB draw with him, and he just running over linebackers and running it for like 20 yards. And every time you get like a 3rd and 4, third and like a 4th and 2, man, just run it up the middle with Taysom Hill. You on the goal line, run it up the middle with Taysom Hill. And it's like a lot of teams know that it's coming and they still can't stop it. So I feel like, man, Taysom Hill is that type of guy that you would get on Madden and you would just run the same play over and over again because you know the other person couldn't stop it. So I feel like, yeah, we should definitely keep Taysom Hill. If you trade Taysom Hill, if Sean Payton wants Taysom Hill, you get everything from out of Sean Payton as possible. But still in all, I still don't get rid of Taysom Hill.
Coach?
I agree with him 100%. I mean, he's a dynamic playmaker. He's a utility. He can play a variety of different positions. He does a variety of different things. I think the Saints should keep him. Like we were saying, he gets paid a lot of money. However, he can game in a variety of different ways also. I mean, like I said, he can play special teams. He could be a gunner on your kickoff team, your punt team. In addition to that, every once in a while, he can return a punt or a kick. He can be an up man on your kick return team. He can play on your punt return team. He can play tight end. He can play wide receiver. He's going to play running back. He's going to be a wildcat type quarterback in certain points. In addition, like Raymond was saying, you could put him in short yardage and goal line situations where he can pass the ball, but more than anything, just take him and run quarterback power. He's going to get you 2-3 yards to get you a first down, get you a touchdown if it's 3rd and goal, and you're on a 2-3 yard line. If it's 4th and short, 4th and 2, you can run quarterback power, some type of quarterback, get you a first down. So, he has a lot of value. He's a utility guy. So it's imperative, I think, the Saints keep him. Now, it depends on what Sean Payton is willing to give up to get him. I would be willing to trade him if I was Mickey Loomis. But the truth of the matter is, for the value you have with him as a Saints player and what you're going to get in return from him on the trade market, it's not like the Broncos are willing to give up a 2nd or 3rd round pick to get Taysom Hill. I mean, if they're willing to give up maybe a 2nd and a 3rd, yeah, I would be willing to part ways with him if I was Mickey Loomis. However, I know they're not offering that, so you just might as well keep him and, use him to his fullest benefit.
Okay, well, since you all speak of that, let's change the narrative and jump to Lamar Jackson. What do you think about his contract situation? He signed a 1-year deal for $32.4 million for 1 year. 1 year, and he's just so valuable. I franchise would not want him to leave or have any potential to leave. So what do you think about that, Ruth? Rue, I think you have your phone on mute.
Hold on. All right. You hear me now?
Yes.
Like I kind of disagree with Raymond and Jimbo said earlier, Cole said earlier, but they don't believe in franchise quarterbacks. If you take him off that team, there's a lottery. I mean, not a lottery team, but that he is the offense, quarterback, running back. He make the whole team go. Like, why not pay him? You know, like he deserves his money just like all these other quarterbacks got their money. He deserved way more money than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had one good season, and they looking to pay him. Kind of show you that's kind of going on in the world today. Like, I think he deserves every dollar he should get. He should be the highest paid quarterback in the league right now. Because without him, they don't have no offense, anything. So I say, why not pay the man?
So what do you think about that, Coach?
Well, I mean, what I was saying, in response to what Rue was saying, uh, I don't think Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback, but Lamar Jackson is definitely a franchise quarterback. To me, I don't understand the fact that the Ravens are willing, like literally, they're willing to let him walk, and they just gave him a non-exclusive franchise tag. And if a team signed him to a contract, all the team would get two first round picks. And I know first round picks are something that's NFL, but for a franchise player of his magnitude, like I'll be willing to get Carolina Panthers instead of me going to get the number one overall pick. I'd have gave up two first round picks to get Lamar Jackson. Or if I was a team like the Atlanta Falcons, Miami Dolphins. I mean, from what I'm understanding, supposedly Tom Brady is contemplating coming out of retirement and potentially going to play with the Dolphins. To me, if I'm the Dolphins, I wouldn't even want him. I would want Lamar Jackson, but I think it's a situation where the fact that Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed contract for $225 million, and the fact that Lamar Jackson is looking for a fully guaranteed contract of 250, 260 these NFL owners, they're upset with the Cleveland Browns for giving Lamar Jackson, sorry, for giving Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract. And since the Browns gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract in the $25 million, they don't want to pay Lamar Jackson, his fully guaranteed contract of 250 to 265 million, even though he's a franchise quarterback. And the reason why they're not willing to give him that fully guaranteed contract is because one, they don't want it to become a trend because you already gave one quarterback a fully guaranteed contract. Now you're going to give him a fully guaranteed contract. And as a result, you know, moving forward, every quarterback of that magnitude is going to want a fully guaranteed contract. And they're just using the excuse that he's a running quarterback is an excuse not to pay him because he's potentially get hurt. But I mean, any running quarterback or any quarterback in general could get hurt and could be injured for the year. Even Tom Brady, he was out for the year and he had multiple injuries at certain points in his career. The point I'm trying to make is I think they're just using that as an excuse not to pay him because he was a running and dual threat quarterback when they drafted him. So I think they're just trying to change the narrative and the fact that he's a buffer between himself and the Ravens organization. I think that's another like strike against him in terms of them not wanting to give him a fully guaranteed contract. So it's just a difficult situation. Uh, I think that's one thing that they're really going to address in the next collective bargaining agreement. But I feel like a lot of general managers and a lot of owners are the Cleveland Browns for giving Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract, and I think that's the reason why the Ravens and a lot of these other teams like the Falcons and the Washington Commanders and the Carolina Panthers and the Miami Dolphins, they're not willing to give up those two first round picks to get Lamar Jackson. Even though Lamar Jackson, to me, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, along with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. He's an elite quarterback, and I think if I was Mickey Loomis and the Saints, of course they don't have the cap space, but man, I would be breaking my neck, literally trying to break my neck to get Lamar Jackson in a Saints uniform.
Raymond?
Um, I'm gonna pose a question. Tell me what other big name star is on that Ravens offense, but yet the Ravens are always in the playoffs and always winning. Lamar Jackson is literally that team. I mean, the defense is great, but if we're being honest, Lamar Jackson is that team. And that's the definition of a franchise quarterback. When you think of that quarterback, you think of that franchise. When you think of that franchise, you think of that quarterback. Like when I think about Drew Brees, you think about the Saints. When you think about Peyton Manning, you think about the Colts. When you think about Tom Brady, you pretty much going to think about the New England Patriots. I feel like that's one of the true representations of a franchise quarterback. That's what Lamar Jackson has been. Why don't they want to give him his money? Look, I'm gonna just pull a cat out the bag. Some people thinking it's like something to do with race. Do I think that? Not fully. Could it be? I don't know. It's just that's like a touchy subject, but I kind of you could kind of feel a sense around that whole subject, people think like, oh, he's a black running quarterback. Um, he probably could get hurt. I don't know. It's you really can't. It's because I'm sitting here looking. I don't know. It's like why don't no team want to offer anything for Lamar Jackson? Why don't his own franchise, who he has been constantly productive for, don't want to give him any money that he's very well worth? I don't know. It's like a big question mark for me, and it's leaving a lot of people dumbfounded. It's like why nobody wants Lamar? Why they giving him the bare minimum? And even if he poses the risk of getting injured, like he's worth it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's definitely worth it. I don't know. Me honestly, I honestly just don't know why he's not getting the contract he desires. I mean, when you look at Deshaun Watson, he literally was out of the league for what 1 or 2 years, and he came back to that amount of money. Like how Lamar Jackson isn't worth that money. I don't know. It's like I don't think it's like you it's like it's one of those case scenarios and situations where your mind start to speculate. Could it be this? Could it be that? And you literally just don't know. At least he got something, and I'm pretty sure, and I hope he balls out this coming season where he just puts it in a case scenario like you got to be stupid to not want me. And I feel like he's gonna do that this season. He gonna take the lead by storm.
And Raymond poses a great point because you are so right, Raymond. Because when I think of Lamar Jackson, I think of the Ravens. So and that's a good thing. Even as okay, Coach say when you only give your quarterback 1 year a 1 year contract, you're giving them an opportunity to move on. And why would you want to do that? And let me ask you this question, and we're going to move on. Just everyone, I want you to give me a quick answer. Do you think if Lamar Jackson moves, will they start looking at a team that is going to start to fall to pieces, or will they still have that camaraderie once he leaves? Go ahead, Coach. Tell me.
Definitely as a team. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I mean, I think they still gonna have a good defense. But in terms of the offense, Lamar Jackson is the offense. So I'll be willing to pay him a contract that's fully guaranteed from 250 to 265 million. I'll be willing to give him the contract that he deserves.
Raymond, what do you think?
Man, that team just simple. That team gonna fall apart. That team gonna go from just in the moment of Lamar Jackson leaving. So yeah, that team will definitely fall apart.
Rue, what's your thought?
Pay the man. Pay him. He deserve every money he get. A $300 million, whatever. Pay him whatever he want. Cause he don't have no weapons on that team as it is. His number one weapon is a tight end. So pay him, please.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on sports wise, and we're going to jump on into the NBA. And so, what do you think? We're going to start off in New Orleans with the Pelicans. Do you think the Pelicans are going to make the playoffs? And do you think because they had a great game just recently against Dallas? So tell me, what do you think about that, Raymond?
Me, honestly, man, the Pelican season is kind of very similar to the same season, bro. Because at the beginning of this season, we was the number one, number two seed at one point, and it's like, bro, we could easily make a run for the conference finals. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but possibly even the finals. If you remember how Bi was playing against the Suns in the playoffs, like he's a menace. When it comes to him being a mid range shooter, he's a menace. Zion just is a beast in the paint and just He's like an elephant in midair. You can't stop him while he's in the air. Then you just got CJ. CJ put on. I thought CJ couldn't close a game. So when it got to that point when they was playing against Dallas, CJ was stepping up with back-to-back threes. So it's like the beginning of the season, it had all that. And I'm like, bruh, this is the team. And a lot like the Saints season and team, injuries started to happen. BI just got hurt, I believe, when they was playing against the Mavs. And I'm like, bruh, I'm like, what are we gonna do? I mean, we number 10 right now. We could make the play in. I feel like we definitely could make the play in. I feel like we got a lot of manageable games left. I'm pretty sure BI is gonna come back before the end of the season. Zion, oh man, I don't even want to talk about Zion, bro, because it's just 2 weeks he's gonna be reevaluated. He's making good process. Then they reevaluate him. Oh, the injury got worse, and it's like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we're being played with Zion Williamson concerning his injuries, but I do feel like we can make the play in and make the playoffs by the skin of our teeth.
Okay, Rue. Check your mute.
They inconsistent right now, and
Unmute yourself, bro.
I did unmute it. You can hear me now? You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. The biggest thing is, I think it's falling on the coach. There's a point. Because as a coach, you ought to know your team. And as knowing your team, you got to know your players. And knowing your players, you got a player in Brandon Ingram that's basically on the same level as a Kevin Durant. Brandon Ingram's strength is back against the basket. You can't stop his fadeaway game. C.J. McCollum, the pick and pop guy, somebody can run along screens. You got Alvarado, who basically is your energy. So you got to use all these players to perfection. Herb Jones, all these players that you got to start using them, as a Valanciunas. If stuff not going right on the perimeter, throw the ball down low. Coach, you can vouch for that. You know what I'm saying? You got a man that can pound it on the low. Hey, bro, you got so much with this team, bro, they're not using. You know what I'm saying? You comparing a lost Lakers team. They're not better. A lot of these teams not better. This is probably the deepest team besides the Denver Nuggets and probably the Milwaukee Bucks or somebody like that. But this team is very deep, bro. And they're not using the players like a Larry Nance, another energy guy. You got so many energy players. Like you can run a court. You can design the game how you want to play it. You gonna play it slow or you can play it fast. It depends who you playing that night. You can slow it down or you can run. You know what I'm saying? As a coach wise, I kind of put this on the coach. You did good last year, get in the play tournament, playing good ball. Yeah, that's last year. Now we're on a new page. We should be in that playoff spot instead of one, but if we're gonna play in to get a spot. You see what I'm saying? We got so much great talent, bro. Even with just McCullen, even that's not even including Zion, you know. As Zion situation going, I think when he's on the court, he's going too hard. He's a big guy. And every time you look around, you keep hitting the floor, you're going to create an injury. You know, that's Wood. He's a strong fella. Don't get me wrong. But if you keep, you know what I'm saying, it's point down to his game. He got to learn how to be a good facilitator. From top of the key, dish it off to your perimeter players, get them down low, get a couple rebounds. But it's looking like, to me, to the point, they're going to have to start sitting down like a good part of the season if you want them to be out there when it comes playoff time. Because you need that guy for playoff time. He the kind of player commit triple teams. Everybody in the court got an eye on him when he got the ball. So you got to kind of take what you have, like as a BI, Brandon Ingram, slow it down, post him up. C.J. McCollum, top of the key, like Ramos said, made a good point. When he played Dallas, he hit a lot of threes. But he might do that tonight. See that to 4 more games. You got to realize these guys on a 10-game losing streak. Then turn around and lost 6 out of 7. We got to fix that as a New Orleans Pelican, team. Coach Willie Green should take full responsibility to this. You got to know how to use these players. You got rid of Devontae Graham and got in a good defender / good shooter. So we got to work with what we got. I think we got enough to make the playoffs. But I don't think as of now, without Zion and I don't know how long Brandon gonna be out. But as of now, I think we could make it to the playing game and hope we, get some good matchups that we could play. And because we are a deep team, but our confidence level is not there right now, as everyone can see, as a New Orleans Pelicans fan. So I'm gonna leave that one up to you, Coach.
Coach.
I think Rue made some excellent points in terms of what Willie Green needs to do from a X's and O's and a coaching standpoint in terms of being able to use all the players to their maximum ability. I mean, he didn't even mention players like Jackson Hayes, Trey Murphy. I mean, he didn't mention Trey Murphy and Jackson Hill. So the Pelicans are one of the deeper teams in the league, maybe for the exception of the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks, like he said. But I think the issue is, like Raymond pointed out earlier, is just the injuries. When you have Zion Williamson that's constantly getting hurt, and I mean when he's healthy, he's one of the better players in the NBA. I'll probably say top five at this stage in his career. But on average, he only played like 27, 28 games a year. So, I don't at this point I don't think it's his body fat percentage. I think is his weight. You know, it's not that he's a fat guy at this point, but I mean he's a big muscular guy. He's like 6'6" and he's like 285. I think for him to be healthy on a consistent basis, I think he's probably gonna have to get down about 245, 250, 255. I mean, that'd be feasible for him, but hopefully he can stay healthy because with him healthy and with a healthy Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum and Jonas, Valanciunas, and Alvarado and Larry Nance, with these guys, the Pelicans are, I mean, like Raymond was saying earlier, they were number one seed in the West, for a good portion of the season. But once the injuries started and they started compounding, Brandon Ingram being hurt and then Zion getting hurt, Brandon Ingram returning, him getting nicked up, it just seems as if, things are just not going in the right direction for them. I think they can make the playoffs, keep consistent, and Brandon Ingram keeps getting hurt, and Zion Williamson keeps having setbacks. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs if they can't stay healthy. But and Rudy, excellent points.
Overall, as a Pelican fan, and and people have to realize that you're not just a player on the court, but as well as off the court. So tell me, what do you think about the Jay Morant situation, Coach?
Well, I've seen it too many times. Once guys get them out of fame and notoriety, and they get a lot of attention. Mostly you see with rappers. Whether it's a Tupac, may he rest in peace, or some of these other rappers is they get rich, they become famous, and all of a sudden they won't become thugs or street guys. I think the biggest example of this is Suge Knight. As the CEO of Death Row. I mean, people don't realize, Suge Knight came from a two-parent household, and he grew up like upper middle class. He was a football player, so on and so forth. And when his football career was over in the NFL, he became a bodyguard for uh, for Bobby Brown and for MC Hammer, and that's how he kind of learned about the record business. And once he became a CEO, all of a sudden he want to become a street guy and become a thug. And the truth of the matter is that really wasn't him. That really wasn't his nature initially. But he let the fame go to his head, and all of a sudden he wants to be a thug. And it's the same thing with John Morant. John Morant come from a two-parent household, except basketball player. He literally has a $231 million contract on the table prior to these incidents. Now all of a sudden you have a couple situations where he's killing people, he's flashing guns. Now he could potentially serve up to 5 years in prison because it's alleged that he brought the guns on a team flight, which is federal. You violating aviation and federal laws. So the point I'm trying to make is with all the talent in the world, you know, because at a certain point, Rue and I were talking, we were Pelicans should have drafted John Morant instead of Zion Williamson. But with all these legal things they have, we talked about the legal situation with Alvin Kamara earlier, but it seems as if, John Morant, his legal situation may be even worse. He could actually do prison time or federal time, and that $231 million contract he on the table, he could potentially, lose everything that is at his fingertips at this point. So, if he comes out of this situation unscathed, he needs to reevaluate himself and all of these negative influences that he have around him. He needs to get remove those from this equation, and he needs to make better choices and better decisions because no way someone with all this money and all this talent, should be doing stupid things and threatening people and flashing guns and things of that nature. Is absolutely ridiculous, and it's sad.
Rue?
Kim, can you repeat
What's
the
your
second? I couldn't
opinion?
hear it enough. Over the
The John Morant off court troubles that he's having. What do you think about it?
I'm bad. I'm so sorry. My bad. I just think he got caught up in the kind of young guy situation. You know, all this fast rap, this gangster stuff. Being that age, you're a beast on the basketball court. You just want to kind of live that kind of image too. You know, I guess Randall could kind of relate to that a little bit more. You're a little younger, and he could hear that the young people like that little fast gangster rap. I guess what I'm saying. I think that's a big part of that. But at the end of the day, like he don't have to, he don't have to portray to live like that anymore because he done kind of made the way, and then he making big moves in the NBA. And the way he playing right now, he could be a future MVP real soon. So as in being trying to be a gangster, nah, Morant, that's not the way to go. Being a basketball player and earning millions of dollars, that's the right way to go. Keep your head in the game, young man. Focus. As you can see, you're the best player on your team, one of the best players in the West, one of the best players in the NBA, period. As point guard wise, I never saw nobody jump like him in the league saying Derrick Rose back in 2008. You know, that's the only concern I got about Morant, his knees. I don't know how long they're going to last, but keep playing your game, young man. Leave that gun and violent stuff alone. Stop the violence.
Raymond?
For me, I definitely agree, and I'm gonna pick up from what Rudy Jr. was talking about. I feel like it's all about the image. Like if you notice how John Morant plays on the court, he plays kind of vicious, kind of violent. He's very aggressive when he attacks the paint and when he attacks the rim. And he always taunting, like he'll do the little baby, like, oh, like you too small and stuff. So I feel like that's just an image. And like you'll kind of notice this throughout, some athletes they'll try and put an image with how they play. And I feel like that's what John Morant was trying to do, but he took the image he was trying to portray too seriously. I'm like, all right, cool, because I know everybody got their own little thing. He might need to listen to some gangster music before he go play to get him amped up. I'm like, all right, if that's what you got to do to get yourself in the game mode, then do it. But it's like you don't got to take that stuff literally. And even talking about rap, like over half of these rappers don't even live what they talking about in the music. You in the NBA, why is you trying to do that, bro? And I was listening to some of the stuff that he did with him smacking a 17-year-old, pulling out a gun in the mall. I'm like, for what? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like honestly, the worst case scenario I was thinking about for him, John Morant, is him actually getting shot for real. Because I know how a lot of dudes in my generation think. John Morant, you're already making a lot of money, so it's gonna have somebody that's envious of you. Now they see that you making all this money and you trying to be about it. It's gonna have somebody just say it's after a game and you in the club. Somebody gonna want to test your gangster in the club, and you flashing all these guns and you showing that you about it. They like let's see about it. Cause you in the NBA, you got everything to lose. That person who gonna try and pick a fight with you, they don't got nothing to lose in their life. So it's like I'm looking at that. I'm like, bro, I don't want to wake up one day and breaking news on ESPN, John Morant has been shot. It's all gonna spring from like, oh, you trying to be a gangster? All right, we gonna see about that. But it's just man, leave them guns alone. Listen to what's his name? I forgot his name. I think his name like Stevenson, or like listen to people like Gilbert Arenas, who has gotten in trouble with guns in the NBA. Like, like nah, man, like that ain't cool, son. Like, just focus on basketball, bro. Like Rudy and Jimmy Jr. was saying, like he got a great career ahead of him. He gonna be a beast. He gonna be a dog. All that stuff. Just stay focused on the game and cut some of them people from around your corner. Cause if you had people that really love you in your corner, they would tell you chill out with all that instead of amping you up. And I heard one of his friends got banned from the arena because they got into an altercation. So it's like he really need to do some cutting from his inner circle.
Yeah, and that's something to consider because the old folks used to say, you are the company you keep. So if you keep that negativity around you, you are that negativity that you dish out. So, since we're talking about basketball, what do y'all think about the All-Star weekend that was, in February? How did you think it played out, as well as the NBA trade? Because we're going to kind of lead into the NBA trade from that. So, Raymond, go ahead and start us off.
The way I feel about the All-Star break, honestly, I'm gonna be kind of quick. I kind of feel like Trey Murphy should have won the slam dunk contest. Honestly, I hope he doesn't sound wrong, but I kind of felt like I forgot the dude name already, which is kind of ironic because it's literally what it was. The dude came from out of nowhere. Nobody really knew who this dude was. I kind of felt like it was a charity case. Like, did he make some real good dunks? Yeah, he did, but I felt like they was kind of overhyping him. Like, I guess because he was like so shorter and stuff like that. But it's like if you ask what he's doing now, like no one knows and no one really cares. And Stephen A. Smith was saying this. It's like it was a point in time where the slam dunk contest was full of stars. Like we want to see John Morant, Zion, LeBron. We want to see the big names in the slam dunk contest. Trey Murphy plays for us, but Trey Murphy shouldn't be in the slam dunk contest. Honestly, I thought Trey Murphy probably should have been in the 3-point contest. We know Trey Murphy for being more of a 3-point shooter than a dunker. But that goes to show you what the All-Star game is now. It's like you got dudes literally. The All-Star game is warm-ups. They just dudes just taking open shots. My favorite part of the game is when Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum started going at it. Because I'm like, all right, it's starting to get a little bit competitive. But it's like, bro, like, and I know we're talking about the NBA, but I kind of want to talk about the NFL too. Like they playing flag football for the Pro Bowl. It's like, bro,
Yes, Raymond. And I was going to touch that. Go ahead, continue.
it's like, bro, like it's not the All-Star game. This is literally just a field day, bro. Like, and nobody wants to watch a field day. So I feel like they need to find a way to make the All-Star game more competitive. Actually, put the real names in the slam dunk contest. 3-point contest, I have no issue with it. You get the Steph Currys, the Dame Lillards, the people that really could shoot threes. You get those in the 3-point contest. So I really have no issue with the 3-point contest. It's just the actual game. At least I know y'all don't want to get hurt, but come on, bro. At least play with some enthusiasm, and come on, get the real dunkers in the dunk contest.
Coach?
Yeah, Raymond kind of stole my point in terms of that both the All-Star game and the Pro Bowl for the NFL, they both glorify exhibition games. In terms of the NBA, I mean, it's no, like he said, I know nobody wants to get injured, but it's the glorified exhibition game. On the offensive end, the offensive players pretty much lighting up the scoreboard. On the defensive end, they're not even trying. And for the NFL Pro Bowl, You out there playing flag football. I mean, it's glorified 7-on-7. So it's ridiculous. Like this is what we've been reduced in terms of the the NFL Pro Bowl while we out here playing glorified 7-on-7. We playing a flag football game. Now, in terms of what he was saying in terms of the dunk contest, I disagree. Trey Murphy, my guy. He a Pelican, but he didn't win that slam dunk contest. I mean, and that's that's just the truth. Now, like he was saying in terms of the slam dunk contest, years ago, the highlight of NBA All Star Weekend was the slam dunk contest. Whether you had Michael Jordan against Dominique Wilkins against Kenny Smith, whoever, even Vince Carter when he won that dunk contest. At this point, big name players they don't have dunk contests. And in addition to that, in terms of the NBA trade deadline, of course, the trades that made the headlines was the fact that you have, the New Jersey. I mean, I'm sorry, not New Jersey. I'm saying New Jersey, and that's the old school. But the Brooklyn Nets, the fact that they traded Kevin Durant to the Suns and they traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, that pretty much was the highlight of the NBA trade deadline. But in terms of the NBA All Star game and the All Star weekend, I mean, the dunk contest was amazing. It was decent. The 3-point contest named Dollar, right? Cool. The game itself just was a glorified exhibition. And more than anything, the trade deadline was decent, but the All Star weekend itself it left a lot to be desired.
Rue, what's your thoughts on that? Check your mute.
I think they should do when it comes to All Star Weekend. I think you should have an amateur dunk contest and the one with your players that you like Ramos saying, John Morant, Zion, and all of them. I think you should have two dunk contests so you can see your young stars coming up and the veterans in the game too. That's gonna be something new that everybody probably would like to see for All Star Weekend. Just like you got your 3-pointer contest, skill challenge game. But I also hit on the point that the trading deadline should be after All Star Weekend, like 2 weekends after, so teams can really see. Like you had the first half, but I think you still need more time. I think that's rush. Just like the Pro Bowl, I think the Pro Bowl is a joke now because you play that before the Super Bowl. I think all the players should have a chance to play in the Pro Bowl, like it used to be a long time ago, Coach. The Pro Bowl used to be after the Super Bowl. You know, now y'all saying it's a flag game, touch game. I get it. Nobody want to get hurt, but at the same time, is nobody really paying attention to that anymore. Like you're not watching that game anymore. Pro Bowl, Jimbo, you could vouch for that. A long time ago, we would love to see John Elway, Drew Bledsoe, Marshall Falk and all them. We used to get them on the game. Pro Bowl, NFC. To the point now, nobody don't watch that no more because it's getting so soft and everybody's scared to get hurt. You know, pretty much NBA too. Everybody, I guess they like you said a long time ago, Jimbo. They made a butter. Nobody don't want to get hurt, bro. But I think the Pro Bowl should be back tackling football, going at it. But people looking at all the money they got now in the league and everything like that. So people gonna kind of play softer, don't want to get hurt. If you're looking at quarterback, what they're making now, people probably never made that in their career playing sports. So I kind of get it what they don't want nobody don't want to get hurt neither. So, but I don't like the fact they're playing touch football.
Yeah, and that's something to consider, for those higher ups, for you have something that's being rushed and you don't want to jeopardize your guy's career, but at the same time, if you're rushing something and you're not giving it time to see what the potential is, then how can you expect to get that individual if you're not seeing the potential that they have on your team as well as the next team? So, is there anything else, guys, that you would like to add? Because the I noticed that the things that the way they had it before, it was better. Maybe it's just my opinion, But the things how they had it set up before, it gave you more to look forward to versus, like you said, with the Pro Bowl. When I tuned in, I was like, maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. But that's how they changed it. I understand they didn't want their guys to get hurt, but maybe they could put something in there where they won't do something that would injure someone, because I know a lot of time their guys will target. But if they won't be doing the things that will get them in danger, they could have a better career, as well as giving more entertaining things, right? What do you think, Ruth?
But somebody did get hurt. I don't remember who it was, but somebody got hurt playing that the flag football for the Pro Bowl.
And that's this year for the Pro Bowl?
That would be correct. Them playing a little flag football game instead of playing actual tackle. Somebody did get hurt. It wasn't. They didn't get injured. They did get like hurt, and they didn't play in the rest of it. So even with the flag football, somebody still got hurt. So
But that's one thing to consider. That's no matter what you do, there are potential injuries in everything. You can be walking down the street and you can potentially get hurt. But that is something you signed up for when you sign up for a big contract. I'm not saying that you want to throw your life away being able to walk, or even just play in the league to provide for your family, because this is something they're doing that for. I look at it as, but some people lose sight of that is beyond providing for their families. But what do you think, Rue? Because we're going to go ahead and get everyone's final thoughts, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Check your mute.
mute yourself, Rule.
I think everybody these days, I think football more like for grown women, if you get what I'm saying, because they got a lot of guys soft now. If they lose in the playoff, they mad. They don't want to play anymore. Jimbo, you remember back in the day, Cardell Stewart and them used to never could get out the second round, bro. He still go to the Pro Bowl, Jerome Bennis, Aaron Rodgers lose. He mad. He in his feelings. I don't like the game no more. And everybody always got something to say about the calls. And man, let football be football. It's too soft now, man. I wish football was like this when we were playing football. You can't crack block and all that nowadays and all this helmet to helmet. Jimbo, dog, you played for the back in the day. You know how many concussions you to get. Sometimes we ain't used to say nothing about them. But nowadays it's so soft now, man. You get hit on your own. I don't want to play this week or this week. I'm sitting out. I really don't like the softness of the football game. I think that's supposed to be one of the toughest sports. But I think hockey is enough. But these guys fighting every night with no teeth in their mouth. The game's soft now, man. Like let's just be honest with it. That's what the flag football is. That's what the tackling is now. Everybody so. No, man.
Raymond.
I would have to disagree. I feel like the toughest sport is MMA and boxing. Those guys literally get bust open every time they fight. But man, yeah, I mean, I'm the youngest out the bunch. But I do remember a moment of time where the All-Star game, the All-Star game, the Pro Bowls, it was like, hard up. Now it's like a lot of these dudes is sensitive. And even though, I'm from like a more recent and younger era, it's like nobody really likes the way these dudes play. And it's like we always hear that debate about how basketball was in the 80s and the 90s, would somebody like LeBron have survived in that time? And it's like you see why those debates and those conversations comes up, because it's like LeBron is my favorite player. But I'm gonna be honest, that dude complained too much about calls. It's like LeBron, you like 6'8", 250, bro. You should not be complaining about somebody touching your arm, bro. Like, be a man. No, not trying to sound disrespectful in any kind of way, but it's like, yeah, a lot of them dudes soft. NFL too. It's like, we were just talking about injuries. It's like, man, these dudes get hurt. If I don't know if you touch them on the leg wrong. I just seen on Twitter they trying to get rid of the hip tackle. And I'm like, what like how else you want defenders to tackle people? I was seeing Paul George was complaining about how it's so hard to be a defender, and nowadays NBA is like, and me, I'm a football player, so I know I already know when I play basketball, I like to get kind of a little physical. You know what I'm saying? But it's like even just watching the NBA, it's like, bro, you can't even touch them at all. It's like you breathe on them wrong, foul, and it's like, bro, like I'm literally watching the NBA. I'm like, bro, like you literally just got to stand up there with your hands like this and just call that defense, because I don't know.
Coach?
Yeah, I agree with both Raymond and Rudy. Soft, especially from the NFL perspective. Basically, I mean, the NFL is ridiculous, and the Pro Bowl, and the fact that you playing like 7-on-7, basically, it's playing flag football for the Pro Bowl. It's like it's absolutely ridiculous the fact that they're not actually playing tackle football for the NFL Pro Bowl, that they actually playing flag football. So basically, it's glorified 7-on-7, which is ridiculous. All right, that's one thing that just kind of aggravates me. Uh, Also, in terms of the NBA, with all the load management nowadays, it's ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know, injuries happen. Certain players are more injury prone, like Kawhi Leonard or whatever the case may be. But the fact that you have some Kevin Durant, he got hurt, going through a layup line. I mean, it's ridiculous. And this modern era player is supposed to be bigger, stronger, and faster than the players in the 80s and 90s. They're supposed to be so much more athletic, and they're supposed to, their nutrition is supposed to be better. They do a better job taking care of their bodies and so on and so forth, things of that nature. But yet they're getting hurt at a much higher rate, and they're getting injured all the time. So I don't know. Like Ru and I talk about all the time. I really think basketball in the 80s and 90s were so much better in the current game and the current state of the game. So
Well, and I'm gonna make this comment that we are not trying to offend anyone from these are just our opinions, and we're just looking at how things were when we were coming up and what we saw versus what is going on now. So we are not trying to offend anyone. So and so wrapping up, we want to get each and every one of you all's opinion on what we talked about. So please don't feel bad and give us your opinion. What do you think about the conversations that went forth and what are to come and what would you like to hear? So coach, tell me, what do you think about our conversation as the followers will tell us what they think and what they want to hear us talk about. So, Coach, give me your opinion, and then we're going to hit Rue and then Raymond.
okay, in terms of my closing thoughts, I felt like we did a good job in terms of the first show. Hopefully, whatever technical issues we have, and work them and do a better job moving forward. But I feel like it's a excellent first show. Platforms you can catch me on, here on YouTube, Coach 67 Sports TV, on my YouTube channel. You can also catch me on Instagram and TikTok. Same thing. And also I'm dropping some other videos in terms of talking about John Jones and in terms of the fight this evening with Tim Zoo and Tony Harrison. I'm gonna do a breakdown of that also. So look out for me here on YouTube and also on my other social media platforms. Y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. Give us our closing thoughts also.
Rue? Check your mute.
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Nice. You too, Coach. You and Lil Ram and y'all too have a blessed day. You too, Kim. But it was nice doing the show. It was fun. first time, like Coach said, we got a little thing we need to work on, communication and connection. I guess they're gonna get better through time, and y'all have a wonderful and blessed day too.
And can you tell the people how they can follow you or see
You
you
can
moving
follow me
forward?
on Facebook at Rudy Harvey, and you can follow me on Instagram at Black Mexican.
Raymond?
Man, I mean, I love the conversation today. It's definitely not nothing new. We always have conversations like these when it pertains to sports. So the show went excellent. I love the conversation. One of our many great sports conversations slash debates. It really was a debate today. I already know how we could kind of get a little debated when it comes to sports, but this episode went great. You can follow me on Instagram _King Ray with two Y's and the underscore at the end. Um, so yeah, like everyone have a blessed day. I hope they enjoyed the show and that's it.
So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day till we meet again. Y'all be blessed.